us who are new and who have not joined before, we have been doing this for over a year. We had very structured sessions in the beginning where we went through specific sections on individual parts of partnerships, from structuring a deal to watch outs on what you should have in those agreements, to how you should be thinking about how structuring the deal, different kinds of partnerships, the ways you activate them, the ways you protect yourself, but also how to measure them correctly. So we've been through many, many sessions, and where we've kind of come to this point is we're kind of in the AMA portion of it. And what we do is this. I like to say, tell everybody, challenge you to stump me. If you have a question, we want to talk about wherever you are in your journey. So the goal is to help you figure out the parts of partnerships that aren't working for you, even if it is just basic. So are you thinking about it? And have you actually ventured into the partnerships world, tried a couple here and there, and has it been successful or not? We can talk about that. If you haven't and you're still thinking about how to go through that, we can talk about instances really just pertaining to your business. And it helps everybody to kind of learn through everybody's experiences. We've also had some great synergies within these sessions where people are finding each other to partner with because you have complementary businesses that you don't even realize until you start talking about them. So it's been really wonderful. It's an open forum. I would love to hear from everybody. But this we do not have the structured sessions anymore. But although I think we should just do another round of those again for all the new folks that are joining. But in the interim, I want to make sure that we open it up. There are a lot of new faces along with the familiar here. So I think we'll have a really good discussion if some folks have specific things that are top of mind that they want to chat about, or if you just want to poke holes in something you're already thinking about. Happy to chat either way. So I will open it up to everyone. Oh, Tashara, did I pronounce that right?
Of course. Yes.
Hi, how are you
Hi.
doing?
I'm actually not in my car this time for our,
I
session.
love this.
So, yeah,
I look like I'm in witness protection today though, so like it's a little dark over here. So sorry. Sorry about that.
no worries at all. So, I'm currently working on an event, for my business Shades of Color. Also, Fusion Entertainment Management is how I got into the slap community. So basically, both of my businesses are participating in this Beauty of the Ball event. And so I'm in the process of working on partnerships, but then also I'm working on sponsorships, which I think is a little different process than partnerships. And so I guess I'm really just wondering, like, my challenge that I have right now is that I feel that I have to educate people that I'm looking to partner with in the process of how we're partnering with each other. So I've been taking some tips from how I see, like how you just mentioned, complementary businesses. And I've approached someone and I said, "Hey, I would love to partner with you on an event." We've had a couple of meetings where we've talked about the event itself, what we're looking to get done. But I also feel that this person has jumped like ahead of things. And I'm like, "Oh, let's really back in." And what I mean by ahead, it's like, talking about how we're going to split, any revenues from this event, like getting to things that I think is a buildup. And I'm just curious about, like, I'm trying to structure something for myself so that future partnerships that I'm looking to do, if I'm approaching someone, like, what are some tips to help me to like go into that conversation and then talk about like this partnership process?
So, first of all, I think the reason he's jumping ahead is because you likely weren't clear up front, is what you're looking for on like what the partnership's actually going to look like. Like, how do you want to partner? I think we can do some cool things, and I think that our brands are complementary, but actually, how? And the reason I'm saying the actual how bit, where you could list 5 bullets and say, we could do this together, we could do this together, we could do this together, is because then you can tie back to it and your revenue is going to be tied back to it and how you share the revenue. Because this guy's jumping ahead and you're making you nervous because you're like, well, I don't even know if we're calculating this right because I don't even know what we're planning to do. Whereas if you're going into a new conversation, you can actually drive that conversation the way you want it to if you tell them upfront. And you can just say, I want to be flexible. I don't know your whole business, but here's how I'm thinking about it. I think it could be lucrative. Let's talk about the details. And then you narrow the conversation down to those details. So you've probably done something close to or similar to this, but maybe have not actually put it in writing when those communications are happening so that you have something to like point back to and tie back to so that when this conversation runs ahead on the financial side of it, you can tie back to what you had already said and say, is this what we're landing on, or are we going to do more? Or conversely, has the conversation already moved forward, and now you're tying back to those things? So that's one thing that I think is very important is like listing upfront, listing those things so that you also said the first thing you said is I don't think they really know how to talk about partnerships or how I want to partner. Now you're telling them straight up how you want to partner. But then the next step that I would say is something else that you could do is create almost like a project tracker, but a very lightweight version of it that is almost attached to that message where you can say there's these things, but in there you leave blank the dates and the execution dates. So they know what to expect with partnering with you. One, it makes you look extremely organized right from the get-go. So that you build confidence in that they want to talk to you. But two, now you've got an artifact that's kind of sitting in the ether that you can keep tagging and poking people back on to like force the behavior you want almost. It's a little bit more perceptional stuff that you're going to do to kind of influence the way you want it to go, if that makes sense. Is that helpful? Have you done something similar like that? And you're kind of like, I tried that, it didn't work.
So I have we've worked together to form those things and like create documents, and we were getting to that part of a project tracker and like who was doing what. I just think that like I said, I didn't really have like a full structure, and I just felt like it was kind of like jumping from towards the end, and I'm like we need to come back.
So the way that you bring the conversation back is going to be going back into those specifics. So like if he's saying, let's say this person's saying, I'm going to give you 15% rev share on everything that comes through as long as it comes from X place. You say, okay, well, we've listed out these five things in our roadmap or whatever. How is this going to be tracked? How is this going to be paid? How is this? And what hypothetical, and like just throw out hypothetical situations in session, essentially, and this is not a word, but to confuddle him a little bit and make him stop and think. Because if you can do that, it buys you a little time to like drive that narrative to where you want it to be versus like being stuck and not knowing what to say. Just get a little granular. And so when you're getting a little granular, it's actually what you want from the conversation. You do want to come back and get granular, but doing it up front and pulling him back there will force him to start thinking in that it becomes a little bit of an annoyance and you're not making it that simple, but you don't want to be difficult as a partner to work with. You just want to be thoughtful and I want to make sure we're thinking through everything and we're being thorough. But essentially what you're doing is confuddling him a little bit so that you can buy time to kind of decide how you want to be monetary, how you want to monetize this, unless you already have that in mind. And now you want to craft what that conversation is going to look like. Either way, you're buying yourself time is really what's happening. It's just a little bit of the art part of it here.
Yeah, and then I got one last point that I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So, if it seems like during that process that the partnership doesn't really seem aligned, do you have like any tips on like how to best break it off or
Exit gracefully.
exit?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of said it, right? I think people think it's rude to say like we're not aligned. You can actually say that in a very polite way. You can be like, here are some things that are deal breakers for me, and these seem to be deal breakers for you. And you can say, it's really important and explain why. Like, it's very important for me for these pieces to be aligned in this way. And here's the reason why it's important to me. Now, if he doesn't feel like it's important, that's their problem. That's not your problem, but you can be very like clear and succinct about that. And then as it gets like, don't let it get contentious to the point if they're saying like, and you say, you just say the thing very clearly, like, okay, so what I'm hearing back from you is that you cannot meet what I am going to need in this. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to move forward. And you're not you're willing to let go of it. You're not willing to not. People usually feel afraid to have these conversations because they don't want to lose it, but they do want to hold the line. You're not there. So you can actually just be very polite and say, it doesn't seem like we can meet on the things that are essential for both of us. And so I don't want to have a partnership where we are always, there's contention in here because we both didn't agree or we were adjacent to what we wanted. It's not going to be a lucrative partnership or a successful one for either of us. So maybe we should put a pin in this and revisit it when we are able to meet at this point, and then toodaloo, we're done.
That's
But
great.
it's a nice way to say, like, we'll put a pin in it and come back to it.
Yeah, I
Nobody
love
ever
that.
comes to it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure who was next. I think maybe Helene. Was it Helene? Not sure. How about
It
we
was
start with Helene
Simone.
and then, oh, it was
Simone
Simone.
was
Okay.
here. Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Simone, you were first. Hi.
Hi, thank you, Sonia. So my question is probably a little bit more general. So I'm a Latin ballroom dance teacher, so I work with dance and dance as a transformational tool. And I'm curious, like, how do you approach if you have like an idea of, let's say, an event or a project or even a service or a product to create that's where you need another partner because you can't do the part all by yourself. And hold on, I'm so sorry. And you start a conversation with potential people. How far do you kind of like share things before you kind of like say maybe we have to put something in writing that that stays within our conversation, because you might also to get to a point that maybe you realize what you talk what Tashara said before, maybe you will part ways in the process of getting to know each other because you see it's not a fit. So how do you go about that?
Well, first of all, I believe everything should be in writing always. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if it's a casual email where you're confirming something, putting it in writing is always a good idea. But that is protecting you. It is not a formality that you have to do. It's just checks and balances for when things are said in person versus you always want to recap everything. That's just a good practice in general. But like when you're talking about what the time frames are and how to have these conversations, generally, if you are thinking about partnering with someone, you should have a purpose with what you hope to achieve from this partnership. You may not know all parts of their business, but you should have a general idea. And you want to think about it from a business sense. Is it distribution? Am I getting myself out there to new customers or receiving customers back from this partnership? Is it a revenue play where I'm going to utilize their brand or they're going to utilize my brand? Like, what is your objective at the end of this? Write it out for yourself, is what I'm saying first. Write it out for yourself. That should be crafted into how you're going to approach them so that you guys are all on the same page. And every step of the way, you want to say, here's how I'm thinking about it. Are you aligned with that? How would it work for you? And so while you're working through these pieces, always have a recap after every conversation so that nobody's confused, but also you're working your way to what is going to craft what this partnership is going to look like. And where you can actually take a page from Tashara's book is and actually add on to that is when you're having these tactical conversations and you're saying like, okay, here's how your business runs, here's how I see I fit into it, would you be open to this? How would we monetize it? Part of that conversation. So it's hypothetical, but you're recapping it so that we are all aligned on the same page. And so, okay, let's put this on paper now. How would it look? And then you can even baby step your way through that. Like put a grid on and say, here's how I'm thinking about it. Are you aligned with this? Does this revenue make sense? What are the things that you are willing to do and not willing to do? How are you willing to protect your brand? I said this in a very early session. Before you get into any partnership with anybody, Google them. Google their CEOs, Google their executives, and make sure you do a light Google search so that your brand is never going to be damaged. But that's another thing you need to be thinking about is like, what am I willing to do and what am I hoping they will do if they're a bigger brand and a bigger name than me? Because you want to tie that into So then you're gonna now be in the place where like how are you monetizing this and what are you willing to give up from a financial standpoint if they have a bigger brand, but then what are you gonna get back from them in return from that? So like are you getting to put your logo next to theirs on a website or your situation is
Yeah.
different, but those are the things that you'll be like, okay, if I can get my logo here with this big brand, now I'm getting tying to their brand recognition. I'm willing to give up the economics here. So like now you've started framing out mentally and you're already ready to go into this conversation, but you also have all the writing and all the documentation of how your conversations have gone. In this process, if you have come to a point already where you will not be aligned and you know this is not going to work, you can exit out gracefully without putting it on
Yeah.
paper. And then the things throughout this conversation that you're going to pull out that might be concerning to you in the long run, or anything that like you think they will be concerned about, or they're going to try and forgive the language, but screw you over down the line. You can then start putting that language in your agreement and making sure you're protecting yourself there. If it's minor and you're like, it's not such a big deal, but like, I'm still a little nervous, it's at the back of my head, put that in the fine print somewhere. Like if it's about your brand, how they can use your brand and things like that, what permissions they need, what approvals they need, what SLAs there's going to be. Because all of you, no matter how big or small your business is, your brand is what you have. And it's the thing that you can lose most easily. So if you have partnered with a company where, their CFO has gone and done some shenanigans somewhere in the world, like you are still partnered with them and you need an easy out. So you can cut that relationship off, but also people can just put your brand all over the place. You can put your logo anywhere. And once
Yeah.
it's on the interwebs, you can't get it off the interwebs if it's in the wrong place. So then you can sue though if it's in the language. So it doesn't have to be that important. It doesn't have to be scary, but you just want to be sure that like you are going through the steps and you are not jumping ahead like the guy in Tashara's world is trying to do for her. Like don't let him jump ahead and you don't do it either. Take
Yeah.
the steps.
And how do you do this even? So that was all super helpful. I really appreciate this. Now, if you go even a little step further and let's say you approach somebody with an idea, right? So you have to kind of like captivate them and get them excited. And at the same time, you don't want to maybe share as much about your idea because, they could say like, hey, yeah, it sounds interesting, but then they could still run with the idea. I'm just asking because maybe I'm a little bit hesitant because of this, because I've experienced this in the past where like, I was kind of like casually talking about something, hey, this could be something. And then the idea was taken and they ran with it because they had other people they could do it with than rather with me, right? So that's where I think also my question comes from. Of course, you have to share something to get them excited and interested. But on the other hand, how far do you go? Or how do you handle that?
First of all, this happens a lot in partnerships. So I can't tell you how many times I have been in partnerships for 18 years that people like to steal your roadmap. They just like to do it. And people, I've had instances where people are trying to poach me and like to asking for my opinion on their business and then literally poach the whole business plan. So like, and I've seen it. Like actually in action. So, and I'm a very creative partnerships person. So like if you are poaching things off of me, I can tell you it's not something you thought of or it's not. But here's the thing. I'm never afraid of that. I'm never afraid of telling people things. One, because I don't give them all the information. I'm not going to tell you exactly tactically how to do it, but there's also other elements of it that you will never understand unless you are the person doing it. People don't know the back end of all these elements of partnerships that I am measuring, what I am measuring, why I am measuring it, how frequently I am measuring it, and what I'm doing from it after that, how I'm iterating on it. And how this pertains to you and your business is one, this is business development 101, the buzzwords and the catchphrases. Chat GPT can easily do this for you. You want to what you're going to do is ask Chat GPT to say, can you create an impact statement off of this idea? And what it's doing is it's condensing it to make it snappy and eye-catching, but it has to be very personal to your business. And where you kind of have the power in this situation is in what is unique to you. Why,
Mhm.
what do you do that other people can't do? What is it in the dance that you do that other people can't do? And how do you actually influence their lives in such a way? Because that's not something everybody can do. And you can hint to what you do, but not talk about how you do it. You never
Mm.
talk about how you do it. You never give that information at all to anybody. You will tell them the logistics of what you need in order to be successful, but not actually how you're going to do it. I don't know anything about Latino ballroom dancing, but what I'll say is like you need a venue, you need equipment, maybe you need apparel or shoes or whatever the situation is. Here are the things I need to be successful. Here's the costs that are going to be here for me. Here's the costs that are going to be for you. In the terms of a partnership, they don't need to know what the secret sauce is in your
Gotcha.
job. And that's where it's like impact statements to get them through the door to say, like, here's how I can benefit you. That's all the impact statement. And the things people care about are how do I increase customer count? How do I increase revenue? So tie everything to that. And or if you have a bigger brand, if anyone in this room has a bigger brand, you have all the leverage. So you can make people give you a lot more if your brand is the bigger brand and the more visible brand. So don't ever forget that and don't lose your power just because you are a small business. You might be a small business, but you might have a better brand and you might have a niche thing that other people don't have. And so that's your lever. And you particularly, you can't just have me come and teach Latino ballroom. I can't even stand on my own 2 feet and take 2 steps without falling. Like that is your talent. Make sure that you have something always that is yours and that nobody else can. That's your value prop as your business. So just don't give away the how. That's the
Yep,
trick here.
that was super helpful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yes, Michelle, no one has your magic sauce. There's a reason that you are doing what you are doing, and you are not everybody else. If that's all you had, Simone, we can move to Helene.
Yes, that was it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Awesome. Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Good
Can you hear
morning.
me okay?
I can. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Great
Great.
conversation so far. And I get my question is, of course, in relation to partnerships, but I'm exploring something new with some hotels in the area, specifically about being like their golf concierge for their guests. And I want to introduce the retainer option. But then I just want to just get a feel for what your thought is on if they don't want to enter into a retainer, um, I guess, process with me, if I should still go ahead with it just like to leverage a partnership there with them since, there's still probably work to do, even without a retainer, if that's clear.
You want to
And if I
have,
need to
you want
clarify,
to
yeah.
have, I'll clarify. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You're saying you want the long-term gig and the security of the long-term gig, but I will take what I want, or should I take what I can get?
Should I?
Where are
Yeah.
you mentally there?
I want the long term, and I'm approaching a few different hotels. So if I don't get it from one, is it okay to just take what they are open to and continue to
Well,
seek it from other hotels?
I think so. This is more of a you question, honestly.
Okay.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay to take it, but I think that is if you really just need the work and you want it. And like, look, how I would think about it is this going to increase your business down the line? Is this going to
Mhm.
make you a name? Is this going to get you some serious clientele on a long-term basis? Because this is what people do a lot when they are like concierges at country clubs and hotels and stuff. They start building those private clients as well. So I don't know if that's a value add for you, because if it is, then I would say absolutely you should take what you can get and go monetize down the line with their
Mhm.
clients. But if that is not how your business works, and if that is not where you're really looking to go to get these private clients, then you need to think about like what the longevity of these deals are going to be. What I would do is, so first of all, if you have reached out to multiple hotels, you don't have to say yes to anything or agree to anything right now. you can also go and like have the conversations with all of them and see what all of them say. Because I don't know what all of them are going to say. Some of them might say, oh, sure, retainer. Some of them might say, hell no. But all of them might say, hell no, we don't do that. Now you know that they don't do that. So two things are going to happen from here. One, you're going to decide, do I want to just go do, what they are offering? Two, you're going to say, well, I kind of want the retainer. So now I'm going to work on how to do that while I'm in there and I got my foot in the door. And so then you can work on it from the internal side and you work your way into this. But that is also can also be a conversation you have up front is like, I would like to take this. This is where I want to go with it. Would you even be open to it down the line? So, like, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is figuring out what other people are doing in this space. Again, ChatGPT can help with this. You can actually ask Chat. I've been using it like crazy for all of these
Oh,
weird,
same.
like, yeah. If you do you use the different models in ChatGPT?
I do.
Okay.
And it just told me the other day that I could probably sign up for another one. But yeah, I
So,
try different
so something
options.
you can use ChatGPT for is asking how people typically monetize these relationships and like is it a norm to have a recurring gig with these hotels? If not, where would I get that, first of all? Because it might be country clubs and things like that that are the places where you would actually maybe get something of that sort. But then if they have a golf course, then maybe not. I
Yeah, I want to do the opposite. I want to get the guests from the hotels to take them out to the courses.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that. Okay.
yeah.
So then, if that is actually the plan, then I would say, let's hear what they have to say. Does it match your economics? If your economics are way off, that might be an issue on how you want, like, because ultimately you have, I'm assuming you have goals that you need to hit. And so if it's way off from that, I might consider different options and how to get those. Another thing that you might want to consider are things like golf shops and specific, like, cater to golf shops. They train, they do these kind of fittings and things like that. You would know, right? Who are they? They have a clientele that is exactly what you want. How do you actually advertise with them and how are they acquiring customers? How can they talk to their customers about you? That's another way to actually get into what you're looking to do. And there might be some interesting other ways that you can tie the hotels to that too. So I know you had your plan. I would say go and talk to all of them first, is my first advice, and see what the consolidated. It's hard for me to tell because I've never had a conversation like that, but I have been in hospitality. And so it is very much up to like the general manager for the most part on how they
Yeah.
want to do this. So my I can't tell you whether you should take it or not, but I think my advice to you is listen to all of them first before you make that determination. And then what other up what other things can they like kind of upsell in other ways they can upsell you? So like if they are giving you a short-term gig or I don't know how the monetary side works, but if they do that, is there any other way you can capitalize on their brand and like advertise or leave things around or put QR codes up? Like are there other ways that you can use this if it doesn't match what you want to do or the monetary side doesn't, but you really just need it from the relationship side?
Yeah, definitely on the travel aspect, because they're already a hotel, so I can help with other hotel bookings because that's a separate part of my business as well.
Oh, there you go. You can monetize it. So you're kind of hitting two birds with one stone. So that's another way to think
Hmm.
about the economics, depending on what they come back with.
Yeah.
But you can always reach out to me. Gabe has my information. So go have those conversations and then let's regroup and we can talk about
Okay.
like what you heard and like personally
I
on a
relay
one-on-one
them.
conversation, like what is realistic for you financially and what isn't. And then we can maybe find like the in-between way to talk, like get you to where you need to be. Because that's the thing about partnerships is it's really creative. We can find like
Yeah.
other weird squirrely ways of getting you to your whole economically, but also you're getting your money's worth for your brand and your future part of your business. Because that's where partnerships is really magic is the future for you.
Yes.
So happy to talk about that, but I would like more information of the conversations you have, and then we can regroup about it.
All right. Thank you so much, Sonia.
Of course. How do I pronounce? Is it Bose H or am I
Both say,
pronouncing it wrong? Bose. Oh, I like that. That's way better than Bose.
how are you? Thank you.
I'm
Um,
good. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. I could, but I won't bore everybody.
I mean, I could too. It's all right.
But okay, so talking about partnerships. So my business, I'm a contractor. I do renovations. We work on residential and commercial work. And it's needless to say, I'm in a male-dominated industry. And so
Ah,
a lot of times, if I don't create the opportunity, I don't get the opportunity. And a lot of times I end up talking to the owners and it comes to find out like I know my stuff. I was educated in this field and most of the people that they hire like handyman that end up not really following the procedures and stuff. So they end up being stuck on the job. So that's something that I'm finding. I'm trying in this process right now to not trying, I'm in the process of building my business, expanding my business. And so I'm reaching out to realtors, developers, working more with business owners rather than homeowners. Because for homeowners, it's a passion project. There's plenty of homeowner type projects, but I'm not interested in them because it's a lot of headache. So I work a lot with just business owners that understand that things cost something. I say all of that to say that I'm looking into partnerships. But what I found in the past that I've tried to do partnerships is that they know that I know my stuff, and so they always want to try to take advantage. So I had a guy reach out to me and say he wants to partner, but he's in charge of finances. And so I would not. And I was like, yeah, no, I look like an idiot to you. And so that didn't go forward. And then I had another one that was willing to partner as an investor. It's always just a mess. It's always just like he wanted something that I wasn't selling. He wanted more. He sell. You know, he wanted more than I was willing to give. So that didn't work out. I had another one that wanted to partner with me, but he wanted me to work under him, and it was not a partnership. So it was just a
not
whole lot
partnership.
of mess. So now I'm looking into different partnerships where I'm actually reaching out to certain people that I know are in my field and either they provide project management services while I do the construction or vice versa, because I can also do project management. And I'm finding that the people that I'm trying to connect with are not as big as I am in my business. So at the end of the day, it means that I'm partnering down and not up. So I will be bringing that person up, and that doesn't really. So, so I'm just kind of stuck, in the.
So I want to correct you. There's no such thing as I'm partnering down. So it's the goal of what you want with the partnership. So you might have a bigger brand, as I mentioned earlier. That's your leverage. That's a good thing. But what if they are a small business, but they have really strong relationships and recurring business? That is a really good business model. How are they acquiring those businesses? How are they continuing to support them? That is recurring business for you. It could be that they are tiny, but they are just really good at what they do. And so they are well known. And so they have a very strong business model. That is somebody that is going to give you distribution. They won't raise your brand, but they will give you distribution and they will give you revenue. That is a good partnership for you. Now, what you have is you are the bigger brand, so you can leverage better economics with this. You can basically throw your weight around on what you want because they probably want you for your brand, not just for your services. So you also have better reach. So who has the better following? Who has the better reach? When we're actually advertising and we're actually putting this partnership out in the world, who has all the leverage? Do you? Do they? Who has the more engagement? You might have more followers, but do they have more engagement? That's how you should be thinking about all your partnerships, not who's bigger, smaller, or what it is what
Okay.
is my objective through them. And my advice to you is don't go all over the place in different kinds of partnerships. Stay in a lane and get really good at it and then move to another one. So, where you are saying, I want to back up a second and I want to say, what are the actual services that you, there's two questions. One is, what are you hoping to get out of these partnerships? Is it more clients? Is it just a recurring revenue? Or is it a brand lift as well? Because that looks different depending on how you want to go to market with it. And then the second question I have is, you want to partner with construction companies? What are these companies you're actually going after? What do they do specifically that is like your ideal match?
Right. And that's really good questions, because and that's the reason why I wanted to talk to you, because those are really good questions, and I guess I need to think about. But to be my ideal type of project are like multifamily residential buildings, and that's the reason why I said I work with business owners, because they're looking to create residential income or passive income. Right. So they're not homeowners. The buildings are not occupied. I don't want to do from the ground up, even though I know I have the capabilities to. I like to bring new life into old buildings. That's my thing. So that's why I said I'm looking to partner up with realtors who are working with investors, because those realtors have the first knowledge of the investor, and then they can recommend me to them. So that would be my ideal situation.
Why wouldn't you go directly to the investors? Is that not accessible to you?
I don't know where to find them. The realtors
Gotcha.
know where they.
So this is a long-term plan for you, because the realtors, once they introduce you to the investors, you need to build your own relationships there,
Right.
cut out the middleman, essentially,
Got it.
long term, right? So that's one thing. You nailed it on the nail on the head. You said that's a really good question. The reason it's a really good question is that is the foundation for how you're going to go and where you're going to go and how you're going to focus. So first you need to answer these questions for yourself, but more specifically than what you have actually told me. So yes, okay, I want real estate companies because they have relationships to the investors. But what do I want from those people? What is it that I'm willing to give to those people? And what am I prepared? Like, how am I actually structuring it? How am I modularizing it? Is it a package deal that I'm offering? And how do I want to monetize it? What do I think? You need to have some conversations with some of these folks in a casual way, not in a I want to partner, more in a you're my friend or you're my friend's friend. What is realistic in like why people would want to hire me from a price point and like time frame, commitment, things like that. Then you need to think about what you actually want to get out of this long term, short term and long term. Short term, you want the introductions to the investors so you get more clients. That's distribution. But long term, you actually want to get to the investors. So you now need to shape these conversations in that way as well. And then this is your 3, 6, 12-month plan, because next, after you start getting these introductions, you are going to want to start figuring out how you're going to structure the conversations with the investors to make yourself really valuable, right? We can talk about that later. That's way far down the line. Let's talk about where you're going to find these real estate folks. Now, where are you going to go that has a whole bunch of folks that are these real estate developers? Is that what we're going to call what we call them?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're always going to be concentrated in some area or the other. One could be associations. That's a really good place to go and like go to some of the events and start chatting with people. Best place to make connections. If you ask Dr. Belinda is on the call right now, I just went to an event and introduced her to 2 people that I met over there. So like you don't know how those connections end up being made. The second thing is get creative on where you're going for them. Think about software companies. There are software business operations companies that cater to real estate people, and they basically do their back end operations there for them. But what does that mean really for you is they have a customer base that is all who you're looking for. Maybe you can go in a roundabout way through there and do that. So like I work at Gusto. Gusto has accountants in there, like 16,000 accountants in our repertoire. So accountants can do all kinds of things. They can do financial services and things like that, and wealth management and all of those kinds of things. That has nothing to do with my company. But if you were to partner with them, now you have a whole you have a whole base of people that are your ICP. So that's one thing that I want you to keep in mind is like, don't be narrow in how you're thinking about partnerships or where you're going to go get them. Just consider what are they going to get you? What do you need to give for that? And what can you get for it in return? And is it worth it for you? And then it's about finding them and structuring those in a way that protects you. And yes, there are male dominated fields, but you can also join the women's associations in this field and start using that to get you to your investors, but also your real estate developers.
There's something you said that actually like was intriguing. And and I wonder how that would look. Is it customary to offer something for something? If you're talking to, let's say I did a random cold call the other day, and I had a great conversation with this broker, and he was actually in the market looking for contractors, and I need to follow up with him and do a better job at following up with these people. Do you offer, if the client does buy, is it okay to offer like a percentage or something to them, or like a finder's fee or commission, or
Yes, absolutely. It depends on which how every industry is different and like how the industry works. This is another thing you could quickly do through ChatGPT and just ask what the standard is. But rev share is most common in a partnership, but a bounty is common as well. So I think it depends on what they do and also what their business model is. So what the questions you want to ask is the three main questions of any partner you talk to is how do you acquire customers, how do you retain customers, and how do you upsell customers? Because your ultimate goal is to fit yourself into one of these areas, but it will also give you some insight into like where they're spending their money. And then you can start kind of understanding like what are their goals. That's the fourth most important question is like, what are your guys' goals? Because your narrative is going to tie directly to what their goals are for the hook, right? So it'll also tell you kind of how they're monetizing things in their area. So if their goals are to create diverse revenue streams, you know that you need to provide rev share. If they are saying like we're just looking for customers at this point, a bounty is going to be just fine because they don't need anything recurring over there. So like it's also all of these things are going to give you indications on how you should be thinking about it as well. Ask questions, lots of questions. They won't give you their financial information, but you can pretty much get to where you need to go by just asking
the right question.
General business questions.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. This was good.
Yeah, of course. Maria?
Hola, hola, hola. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can. Oh, there you are. Yeah, I can see you now.
How are you?
Hola.
Okay, so I have a kids apparel brand. It's basically focused on creativity, playtime, and imagination through the tools that I create and the clothing as the primary like focus. I started this business years ago, but now I'm like finally focusing and like putting all my effort and time into it. And I'm in the process of like relaunching the business and kind of like restarting again. Starting my customer, like how do you say it? Like like my customer. But for like marketing purposes, I want to create partnerships. So I have like two kinds of partnerships that I'm thinking about. One, it's part of my social responsibility where I want to collaborate and partner with like hospital, nonprofit organizations to bring creative kits throughout creative workshops that I would be facilitating to the kids. And I'm like in the process of like finding those hospitals, those organizations that would want to work with me. That is one partnership that I have in mind. The other one is more like a marketing strategy, and it's pretty much going to where the kids are. So like restaurants, like the pediatrician, dentist, all the places that you can imagine kids are. I'm starting with the restaurants because I think it's like the easiest and like quickest way to get there. And I'm trying to find the way to partner with restaurants like around my area to create like placemats, like the placemats they put for the kids with pretty much my brand, like marketing my brand, but I want to sell it to the restaurant as a way to like market each other.
Yeah.
My question is, what, like, is that something that you think a restaurateur would like go for if I'm like wanting to show my brand, or should I just focus on the social responsibility partnerships?
I think that you should do both, but first of all, social responsibility partnerships is great for your brand no matter what. This is a marketing play as well. This is a brand play. It's not just a business play, right? For the restaurants, I mean, it's a little, so I can't understand what the connection is. So you're in your mental model, you're going where the kids are, but what's the value prop for the restaurant to advertise your brand? Your brand doesn't have anything to do with their business except for the kids element of it. So
Uh-huh.
if you want to make a compelling proposition to them, what does it say? Like, what's the benefit for them? Aside from, I'm going to give you a cut of whatever business I get, why would they attach their brand to yours?
Okay.
And another thing to think about is, who are these restaurants? They would have to be local restaurants because no chain restaurants would be able to do that because they have brand standards and
Yeah,
company
right.
standards.
Right.
So I feel like that you feel like you said in between earlier that that might be the easiest way to get in front of the kid. That's just an easy way to see kids. That's not necessarily the easiest way for you to actually, one, facilitate, because that might be a lot of work for you. Two, are you actually going to get bites off of that? I'm not sure. I don't know that I would be confident that you would actually get bites out of that. But there are a ton of other opportunities that you can actually use this concept that you have with. You have the right footing. You already know what you're looking for. I'm looking for the clientele and I'm looking for the distribution. But what about the YMCA? What about organizations through your city that they cater to kids? I think there are a million programs that are catering to like mental health for kids and things like that. Dr. Belinda is working on a program for, teenagers and how to help them. Like, and she's going and partnering in different areas in this way. What does that look like for you? Because I think another element, and they can tie together your social responsibility and your distribution, are things like group homes and things like that, where you are actually helping underrepresented children and things. So now you're getting distribution, and you might actually go talk to your city, whether it's Chamber of Commerce and stuff, and ask them what kind of funds and what kind of funds and help you can get from the city in that, for all the nonprofit stuff that they do. So how nonprofits get funding. Is there a way that they can pay for your services or for your merchandise on behalf of the kids as part of, therapy, and as part of, helping them succeed in life? Like, there's different ways you can do this, and you can tie both of them together as well. Are there limitations with how you like that aspect of it that you're thinking? You seem like you're thinking, but I'm not sure if it's like
No,
this might not
I'm
work.
taking note. No, because yeah, the social responsibility is something that I've been like wanting to do since I started this business, and I think that's like the way to get to what I want. It's like a personal thing that I have with like wanting to get into like immigration nonprofits and like health organizations. So that's something that I think I have more clear. I didn't think about the mental health orgs for kids, but yeah, so my plan is essentially to offer, I have like a partnership like kit where no, like a plan where you can select like the amount of kits that you want to sponsor the program, and so I have that. I guess I'm not quite sure how to like get to the organizations to like say I have 25 kids. If you buy 25 kids, we would be doing this, and I will be giving you this back, like uh, promoting you in my social media, and like, I don't know, like putting your logo in the bag of the kits for the kids, or whatever. So that I have clear, it's just like the logistics of like how to go from where I'm right now to like actually getting the funds to pretty much donate those kits to the kids and being able to facilitate those workshops in the social responsibility like partnership.
Yeah. So well, Dr. Belinda threw a comment in there. A great connection is PTAs. That's a great suggestion actually, because that gets you where you need to go. Those are those creative juices that are flowing for Dr. Belinda.
Sorry, what's PTA?
Your parent teachers associations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
go to the PTAs and join them and get in their faces. But also, what about again your cities, your chambers of commerce? You know why? Because they kind of know where all the nonprofits are. They know where all the organizations are. So it's kind of using a one-stop shop, but also they probably understand and have relationships with all of them to some extent, some more than others. So they can actually tell you what they're going to be looking for and where they're struggling. So that you can tie your value prop to that. And then you can ask for the introductions as well. You can actually have them do that. But your chambers will also have a list of all of this. So you can actually like do some bulk outreach to all of them, have a really strong value prop impact statement. As soon as you understand exactly what they're looking for, you don't want to do this blind without getting this information on these organizations that you want to partner with, only because like they're just going to dismiss you and you're not going to get any bites off of it. And if you do it, there's two ways to do it. One is to actually go to the chambers of commerce, talk to them, get the one by one introduction. But if you get the list, you can actually like just manually put it into a sequence of like reminders of just bulk outreach and then more personalized like sequencing outreach, and that's like a traditional BD version of it. It's just a faster way to like blast them all. And then even like you can even do a hybrid where you blast them all, but because they gave you a list, but also get the chambers and stuff to start introducing you to people. You might also ask the chambers like what is the easiest path to go get these funds, and where are you located? Like
I'm in Philadelphia.
You're in Philadelphia. So there's actually an organization also called I forgot. It was somebody from Silver Linings that I met at the event. And they actually help financially. They help organizations and their nonprofit, Pete DuPont Foundation. That's what it's called. They have some like, I want to say organizations or companies that they help that are in your space. You might want to reach out to them and see if they have any connections, because they do work with Silver Linings as well. And so that might be a connection for you, and they're in Philly. So that's
what's
one
the
thing.
contact?
I don't remember her name, but it's the Pete DuPont Foundation. There's Dr. Belinda. She's got a connection. So I think Dr. Belinda's trying to be a partnerships person now. I think she's in.
Dr. Belinda, who are you? Show me your face. I need to talk with you.
She's fabulous. Also working with children. So
awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Sonia. I appreciate it.
Of course, we're at time, so I know Gabriel's hopping to chat, but if you need to reach out as well, just reach out to Gabriel and you can get my email address. But I suggest having these conversations first so that when I come to talk to you, we can have, it's the same as Bose, like have all of you guys have those conversations, those initial things, and then come and talk to me. And then I will have a better way of like very specifically telling